It's not about incidents, it's about how your mind responds. Hi, I'm Kimberly, and I make videos about health and wellness, self growth, intuition, among other things, and chronic illness, overcoming chronic illness. I wrote something today after I was in class today for Ayurveda, which is traditional Indian medicine. And today was all about the mind, which has been a huge focus of mine for the last few years. And my teacher said that it's not about incidents, it's about the way the mind responds. So I wrote this down after reading this, so I'm just going to read it to you guys. Stress is not in the office, for example, where you work, it's in your mind. It's not, that's why when two people in one office can respond entirely differently, and one person can sleep and eat and relax, while the other person can't eat, can't sleep, can't relax at all outside of work because they're so focused on work. So those two people in that same scenario in that office are responding entirely differently, even though they're experiencing very similar things on a daily basis and they're in the same environment. It's all about where their mind is bringing their awareness and what their sensory input is taking in. So our five senses take in sound, light, touch, smell, and taste through our sense organs. And the nervous system sends that info to the mind. The mind makes decisions based on this info that we're taking in from our body, our sensory organs. And our nervous system is then told how to respond accordingly by our mind. And you can say that the nervous system and the mind are the same in one, that your mind is just processing the thoughts that you have towards something, and your mind has memory, or your nervous system has memory to it. It actually has memory cells throughout your entire body, throughout your entire nervous system. So your mind is throughout your whole body. So when walking into this office scenario, as an example, you can feel immediately tense. You can feel it in your neck. The lights feel too sharp. Feel dread when you look at your computer. Hearing the drone of the central air can make you furrow your brow. Ugh, like hear that sound again. The smell and the taste of stale coffee hangs in the air and just brings this acidicness to your body. Then the other person can experience, when I walk into this office, I immediately see my coworker's face and smile and say hi. I hear a great song on the radio and start humming. I see my desk and remember how much I accomplished yesterday. I sit in my comfy desk chair and exhale while I check out what I have on my list to do today. The mind has taken these different scenarios, or the same scenario, and changed it into different perceptions of what the reality that is going on, and turned it into what fits this person's where their mind is stuck in, the cycle that it has created for itself. So the mind resides throughout the entire body in your nervous system. It focuses shift to where the sensory input is coming in, and this does this in fractions of a second. So your nervous system is a physical thing. It is why you can take in every sense that we have is because of our nervous system. So if you hear a sound, then the mind is in the ears. And if you step on the cold ground, then the mind is in your feet. That's where your focus, your awareness is. You taste a scrumptious bite of food, and your mind's focus is now in your mouth. The nervous system is throughout the entire body, again, and our nervous system is an extension of our brain, or the brain is an extension of our nervous system. You could say it either way. They are one and the same. We can change the decisions we make about what our sense organs tell our mind or our nervous system. We can change the decisions we make about what our sense organs tell our mind or our nervous system. And therefore, we can change the chemical responses our body creates based on those decisions. Our endocrine and hormone response and the secretion based on a thought that becomes a chemical, emotional response of feeling fear, joy, or relaxation. Different chemical responses create all of our emotions, and those emotions create profound physical responses as producing water from the eyes and tears, or water from our skin and a toxin release that is our sweat. Our skin becomes tight and bumpy from goosebumps when in shock or exposed to cold. Those are all physical manifestations of our thoughts that happen instantly. When we shift the nervous system response we have created from our past experiences, we can change our reality in this moment. Our nervous system is very intelligent and takes sensory input it's already learned about and automatically responds to it. Like hearing a song that you've created a feeling of irritation to. You just hear the song and you're like, ugh, this one again. Like, why? Why do I have to hear this again? Or a feeling of feeling heat, and the nervous system responds with dropped blood pressure, heat intolerance, and swelling. These are both immediate reactions of the nervous system from taking in the sensory input and our mind deciding what it wants to do with it, and then our mind and our mind nervous system sending out the signals to our body to do what it has learned to do with that information that it's taking in. These could have slowly formed over time, these responses that we create, that we get in a cycle of hearing that song over and over and being irritated, or our body not tolerating heat. Those are formed sometimes slowly over time and become more and more prominent as the body continues to learn that response. Or the body could have had one traumatic experience that the mind decided was so intense that the nervous system learned that one single instance to respond in a certain way to, just from one time. So it can happen either way. We can unlearn the pattern of behavior that our sensory organs take in, and our mind nervous system has a specific pattern of behavior towards. Unlearning this pattern can be done the same as it was formed, slowly over time, or with one experience, such as you can use self-hypnosis. Sometimes people go to a hypnotist, and hypnotism is just self-hypnotism. That's all there is. You can just have somebody guide you in leading your mind into a hypnotic state, but you are the one that's doing self-hypnosis. Also, Eckhart Tolle is known for having one profound experience that changed his entire life, and he was like extreme example of just laying there and suddenly had an epiphany, and all of a sudden he was an entirely different person. So everything about his mind, all his conditioned past learned behaviors, changed instantly, and he started living an entirely different life. So it can happen from extremes to extremes, very slow and long drawn out, to happening overnight or happening within a second. When our body has been in a pattern of behavior for an extended period of time, it can take persistence and consistency and in manageable chunks of time to practice this new response to a sensory input. So it can be very different for everybody. And for every single thing that we learn, some things are going to be harder for our mind body to unlearn. If this practice of changing a nervous system mind response is new to you, the first few things you're practicing to change you're also learning the process of rewiring your nervous system in general. Over time, your brain learns how to rewire. And so when you are practicing rewiring the nervous system, mind becomes less rigid to concepts that you have created within the mind and doesn't have to hold on so tightly to past experiences. So to past responses and beliefs in general and experiences. So when we are learning to rewire our brain nervous system, when we're learning to entirely change our belief system around something and entirely change the automatic response that our body has to something, if you're doing that for the first time, it can take some time to just learn that process, to just get used to doing that over and over and over, and to get in the habit of reminding yourself that, oh wait, that's an old behavior. I'm not doing that anymore. And then refocus the mind and feel it within you what you want to change. That alone definitely took me some time to learn that. And then once you start learning how to do that process, it becomes like second nature, and it becomes much easier to take that all on and take on new things, and to continuously, like I'm continuously every single day constantly reminding myself that that is an old pattern of behavior, that is a pattern of behavior, or even a new one that comes up, like, oh, I didn't like the way I just responded to that. I'm immediately going to change that. So when you learn these in general, your mind and nervous system become more flexible in general, and your mind and body become more relaxed and open to learning new responses. So you have a plasticity in your brain that occurs that goes like from rigid to placid, and you suddenly are not having this like hitting a wall constantly with this thing. You're starting to like break through that wall until like it's just easier to like move into the next thing. So that is a huge way of mind, nervous system. They can be, they're so closely linked together that those two things are changed, that we can unlearn, that we can move and grow from there. And what was the thing that I started here? So it's not about incidents. It's about the way that your mind responds. It's not about the situation you're in. It's not about the office that you're in. It's about the way that you respond to that environment. It's the way that your physical sensory organs, your nose, your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your skin, take in what it is and then send that through your nervous system / mind, and that decides, you create a thought based on that, and that decides how you're going to respond. This is not something that people consciously know how to do typically. This is something that we can learn to do. I think when we lived in nature and when we were tribal people and we were super, super close to everything that was going on, and we weren't being pulled away from things with all the millions of distractions that we have, that this was just common. This is what everybody did. Now in our modern day society, we have to relearn how to bring this all in, and how to control what our senses are taking in and the way that we're responding to them, or control what our senses are saying, what our senses are telling us, and what our mind is deciding to do with that information. All right, well, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Like if you like this content, please give me a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, if you've done this, or if anything came up for you while you were watching it. I really, really would love to hear from you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!